Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1656A, and today's date is September 5th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Dirty Little Secret Was Released to the Public, Part of the Plan. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the central bankers, they are definitely pulling all the stops right now, and they have been making sure that the public, the people around the world, only see their currency as the right currency to use. It's the only currency that you should be using because it's centralized, it's controlled, and that's all they want. They don't want you looking at precious metals. They don't want you looking at cryptocurrency. And they're really pushing their agenda full speed ahead here. If you look at precious metals, they've been suppressing this for a very long time. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, paper contracts are thrown at it, and gold and silver, they drop. It looks like they're doing the same thing to the cryptocurrency market with Bitcoin. All of a sudden, there is absolutely no news whatsoever, and Bitcoin, all of a sudden, tumbles back to near lows. Same thing with Ethereum. And they started this process a while ago, where they were saying that cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, you can't use it, criminals use it, terrorists use it, it's not a store of wealth. And we saw the Fed and, the central banks come out, like the IMF, the BIZ, parts of the Fed come out and say, yeah, cryptocurrencies, you shouldn't be investing or using it whatsoever. We saw already that the banks were planning to set up trading desks to trade cryptocurrencies, and now they're pulling back. Actually, Goldman Sachs is putting its plan to build a crypto trading desk on hold right now, and I do believe this was all part of the plan. And most likely we're going to see other banks come out and say, you know something, maybe we shouldn't set up a trading desk right now because it's very volatile and we shouldn't get involved in this. And when you look at this, you can see the plan. Stage 1, buy as much as the coin as you possibly can. Pump it up. Make it into a bubble. Even though there wasn't a lot of individuals in on this, a lot of people didn't even know about Bitcoin. They bought as much as they possibly could to make it look like everyone was buying it. Then come out with the news where criminals use it, terrorists use it, it's no good, it's not a store of wealth, and continue that news as the bubble grows. Then all of a sudden, dump a lot of the coins. Now, Jeff Nielsen, before this even happened, I did an interview with him, he actually said this was their plan. And this is exactly what happened here. Then, all of a sudden, Bitcoin tumbles, and they continually dumped. Every time they dumped, it fell down further and further. And the central banks came out and they demonized it even further, to make sure people got the message that you shouldn't be anywhere near cryptocurrency. Then they let cryptocurrency go, and all of a sudden we see some days where it's suppressed, just like gold and silver. Really no difference here. And banks then said, hey, you know something? This looks interesting. We're going to be setting up cryptocurrency desks. We're going to trade in it. And people thought, oh, wow, this might be something that I might be interested in. Well, all of a sudden, the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and others, they came down once again. Now the banks are reversing this. See how this is all played out to keep you away from all of this? They did the same thing with gold and silver. Remember, it's a barbarous relic. Nobody owns it. Why would you? The central banks? Yeah, at one time it was money. Now we just look at it and it's nice and shiny and it doesn't really mean anything. And you can see this is exactly how they push their agenda. They convince you, they brainwash you into thinking this is not what you need. Now, if you want to learn more about cryptocurrencies, you can go to the X22 Report school.com. It will bring you to a website, and there's a school which you can learn about cryptocurrencies, and then there's an entertainment room where they do a lot of trading, and you can learn how to trade cryptocurrencies and get around this. And you can learn in both of these areas. Yes, it does cost money. It will bring you to the website. If you have any questions, just email the email address on the website. They'll answer all your questions. All you need to do is type in x22reportschool.com. It will bring you right over to the website. Or if you're on x22report.com, you'll see the link on the home page, and you can just click on the link and it'll bring you right to that website. Now, let's talk about what is happening in the economy. Now, we know the Fed, they've been changing a lot of their calculations, hiding a lot of data. We know corporations, once sales start to decline, what do? They start hiding their information. Now, a couple of months ago, we announced that U.S. automakers, they would no longer disclose monthly sales. Now, when we heard about this, we knew exactly why they were going to do this. We knew that their sales were going to fall. Remember, prior to this, what were they doing? They were channel stuffing the lots. They were bringing in the subprime people. Anyone that had a heartbeat, they were able to purchase a car. And now things are changing dramatically. And when we look at August sales, we can see that sales have declined. Now, we don't have the exact reporting, but it looks like there was a leak, and Bloomberg leaked last month's reporting of what GM sold, and their sales plunged by 13%. And we can see why they're hiding their information. And what is going to happen here is they're going to continually hide data so we don't know exactly what's going on. Why are they doing this? Why would they hide all their data? The reason for this is because the economy is breaking down. We need to remember something very, very important here. I know Trump is out there and he's telling us that this economy is booming. This is for the show. This is to take everything that the deep state, the central bankers have done all throughout this time and use it against them. How do you do this? Well, you take what they've been doing for years, and we know because we've been following this for a very long time, and this is one of the reasons why we've been following the economy. So it's not like a shock, like, wait a minute, the economy's doing well, the economy's doing bad. Are they manipulating? Aren't they manipulating? We've been following this for a very long time for a very specific reason. So we know exactly what is going on. Now, they've been manipulating GDP numbers, unemployment numbers, you name it, they've been manipulating it. So Trump took those same exact manipulated calculations and used it against them. And then he went a step further, manipulated it even further. This way to show that the economy is doing even better than it was doing with them in charge. Now, what are they going to do? They're going to turn around and say, hey, you're manipulating all the numbers. Well, then at that point, all he has to do is say, hey, listen, if I'm manipulating, we've taken your calculations, and those were manipulated because we were using those calculations. And for many aspects of the economy, we're still using them. So they're not going to say anything. They're going to keep it very, very quiet. They're going to keep it on the down low. And he's going to use this to make it look like the economy's doing well. Why? So he can switch it around and blame the Fed. This is what this is all about. This is the first stage of taking the narrative and controlling it. And it is working. And we could see when we look at the global economy, the global financial system, everything that we're seeing is not by accident. Currencies don't melt down randomly. This is only the first stage of a complete reordering of the global financial system. I mean, let's take a look at the Shanghai Stock Exchange in China. What do we see? Well, we see the Shanghai Stock Exchange declining, a complete meltdown. More specifically, a 4-month battle to cling to the key technical support of the 200-week moving average, the red line. Once the support finally broke, the index crashed. Now take a look at the U.S. S&P 500 stock market. What do we see? Well, it's soaring to new highs. Not just climbing a wall of worrying, but leaping over it. So the engine of global growth, China, is exhibiting signs of serious disorder. And the world's consumerist paradise, the U.S., is on a euphoric high. Now, this divergence is worth thinking about. How can the two economies that have powered a 28-year bull market in just about everything be responding so differently to the global economy and global financial system woes? Well, because what we're seeing here is that this data the information, what we're seeing, has been manipulated. And this is being done on purpose. In reality, the global financial system is completely melting down. This is by design. This is a central bank economy. It doesn't last forever. And this is why we're seeing anomalies in the entire system, things that don't even make sense. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to hide certain data and manipulate certain data to make it look like it's a lot better than it really is. But when you see through this, you can see these things don't make sense. And they haven't made sense for a very long time. Now we're getting to the stage where it really doesn't make sense. And the global financial system, remember, it's interconnected right now. And the whole thing is melting down all at once. Now, is it going to melt down completely? Yeah, it is. This is being done on purpose. They want the system to melt down. This way, they can make their move to get rid of the central banking system. To get rid of the central banking system, what do you have to do? You have to create an atmosphere where they are responsible for destroying the world economy. Without doing this, the people around the world won't even look at the central banks. So by creating this atmosphere that they're the ones who are responsible, they're the ones who are in control, and their system died. Remember, they were planning on a war, an event to cover this up because they know their systems, and if you go through history, only last 40 to 45 years. Then it breaks down, then we have to go to war, then they reset it. Remember, currencies don't melt down randomly. This is only the first stage of a complete reordering of the global financial system. A reordering that will reprice all the assets currently bubbling at absurd levels to a much lower valuation. This is on purpose. This is why Trump came out and started to criticize the Fed. This was the beginning stages, where he said, listen, I don't know why you're raising interest rates right now. This is not really a good time, but I'll leave it up to you because you know best. This was part of the plan. Now remember, the Federal Reserve was created by an act of Congress in 1913. A lot of people question if this was even ratified. Under its current structure, the 7 members of the Fed Board of Governors, from whom the chair is also selected, are nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. If the President and Senate were to pick the Board of Directors and CEO of Exxon, and this group then had regular meetings to announce its targets for price of crude oil, nobody in the financial press would dream of calling Exxon's decisions independent of politics. It would clearly be a state-run company, utterly subservient to Washington. Well, isn't this what we see happening with the central bank? But they're completely independent and they work on their own. Well, do they really? No. They work with the deep state. They work with many individuals, and it's not to the benefit of the people. Now, Trump let the American people in on a dirty secret. The central bank is by its very nature a political institution that exists to serve the nation's rich and powerful class, not the average, everyday American person. And when he did this, he was calling them out each and every time when they asked about the Fed's independence. Are they doing the right thing? Are they political? And basically, this is the beginning stages. Remember, you can't dump this on the American people. And a lot of people that have been listening to alternative media, researching the Fed, we all know what this is all about. If you talk to the everyday person, they have no clue what the Fed is, what the central bank is, what their role is. They think it's part of the government. So just like everything else, as we're seeing right now, you have to start to drop breadcrumbs a little bit at a time. Get people used to the idea. Now, a lot of people probably didn't even hear of this, probably don't even realize that it's happening, but it's feeding into their subconscious and they're realizing that something is going on. Don't know exactly what it is yet. This is the beginning stages. more of the stages of where he's calling out the Fed will continue on as we move throughout the next year or two. And we're going to see Trump really point things out that the Fed is doing to show that they're responsible for what is happening in the economy. Just like when he said, listen, I don't think this is a good time to raise interest rates. The debt is coming due soon, and I don't think it's the right time. I thought this was going to be a free, easy money Fed chairman, but I guess I was wrong. Now remember, he's the one who chose him. He knows exactly what's going on. It's not by coincidence that he said all this, and the Fed came out and said, listen, we're going to continue with what we're doing. We're going to raise interest rates. This is all part of the plan. And this is the beginning stages of letting the American people know what this is all about. But this can't happen yet until we bring others to justice. Once those people find out what the truth really is, they will then believe what Trump has to say about the central bank. And this all has to be done in stages. And we're at stage 1 for the central banking system. We're further down the line with everything else, but the general population doesn't really know what's going to hit, and they're going to be shocked. And it's going to take a little while before everything evens out and we continue on with this plan. Because remember, they've had many, many, many years. They've been embedded into our system. People are corrupt. People are paid off. And now it's time to undo all of this. And it's going to take some time. But we will be going through a transition. You will have to be ready and prepared. So get prepared. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.